beautiful view of space. Now, we're all aware of how to open a bottle of champagne. It's really very straightforward. Remember, you take the spit off and you do 1, 2 and a half, and 3. And then hopefully the cage comes off. And when the cage comes off, well, you get an idea of the sort of trickiness of this operation. You simply remove the cork and prepare to pour without getting a glass of foam. Here we go, 3, 2, 1. We bought the cheap stuff. Oh, sorry. And then you pour, and hopefully you don't end up with that. Now, you saw how difficult it was here in the studio, even with you watching. But imagine doing this in space. As the market of space tourism opens up, Melissa Bell has tried some space champagne in zero gravity. Cheers.
Weightlessness is the most extraordinary feeling. Like being a kid again. Of course, until now, astronauts were the only ones who got to experience it. But that could be about to change.
We must have American dominance in space. So important.
A new space race is on, not only for superpowers aiming for control, but for businessmen looking for profit.
Really the key is making this affordable to almost anyone who wants to go.
It is that new breed of space consumer that Mumm has decided to target with its Cordon Stellar champagne, and its designer believes there is much to celebrate.
We are at the dawn of this new era of space. There are so many competitors trying to send men into space. You could say that the next big challenge is how to live in space, not only to bring our what we need just to survive, but what we need to deploy cultural rituals. And that is also the purpose of this bottle, you know, it's to bring a bit of what makes us human.
So nearly 50 years on from the first moon landing,
it's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
it is mankind that will soon be able to celebrate with bubbles. Up here, you have no sense of what's up and what's down. So the design of the bottle was crucial. Just getting the champagne to pour. If you can catch it, the champagne actually tastes different up here. Its texture, its taste, just fill your mouth quite differently than they do on Earth. The champagne took 3 years to develop. And how much did it cost, you might ask? Well, Mumm is keeping mum on that. So was it worth it? Or will it all fall flat? Jean-François Clairvoy is a French astronaut who helped with the project.
So the best way to move forward is, like Captain Kirk said, to explore strange new worlds, seek out new life, boldly go where no one has gone before.
This experiment certainly has provided that. Whether or not it will translate into champagne sales anytime soon is unclear. But it does at the very least provide a sparkling vision of the future. Melissa Bell, CNN, somewhere above France's Champagne region.
And that idea of the future, well, space champagne isn't the only space spin-off out there. NASA has a huge list of accomplishments which have helped our everyday life here on Earth. For example, baby formula. Well, space tech is in baby formula. When working on a mission to Mars, they funded and found natural source for the fatty acids found in baby formula today. What about these on planes? The winglets. It's in every plane. NASA Aerodynamics led to the development of upturn tips, the winglets on aircraft. But don't think about big things like planes, something pretty basic, the smartphone. Here we have a collection of them. NASA technology is behind digital sensors in your smartphone and the precision GPS that makes it work. Finally, perhaps one of the most useful, it's in the bedroom, memory foam, which is frankly, one of the most widely NASA spin-offs. It was developed to keep pilots cushioned during test flights. Wherever you look, there is some form of NASA technology. Daniel Lockney is NASA's Technology Transfer Program Executive. Sir, it's a very impressive list, and space champagne is the latest. But I wonder, you know, do you realize when you're designing for space, oh, hang on, this will go rather nicely into the private sector?
In some instances, of course we do. Technologies like power generation and storage, new medical procedures and devices to keep the astronauts, crews healthy and safe. We know that these will have terrestrial commercial benefits. But some of the fun ones are the ones we don't expect. One that you left off your list that I think is another big one in the cell phone is the camera in the cell phone was actually a NASA technology. We designed it for a satellite. It's a lightweight, high-resolution camera, doesn't draw a lot of power. And we developed that, we invented it, we have patents around it. So the cell phone camera in your pocket, that's a NASA technology.
With NASA still having a very wide brief at the moment, but it doesn't have the big projects like the moonshot or sending man to the moon or to Mars. It has them in the future. Is there still the same impetus to innovate in NASA?
Oh, absolutely. All the more so, actually. The technologies we need to get us to the moon and then eventually onto Mars, that's the projects we're working on right now. So we're in a constant state of innovation, new technology development. We have a large technology development organization at NASA focused on building the technologies we're going to need to get humans into space, get new spacecraft into deep space, orbiting the moon, landing on the moon, living in space.
And with that in mind, what sort of range can you see in the pipeline? Because obviously many of the things are not consumer facing. They will be going into other industries and they'll be highly technical widget turbo thruster backdrop or whatever it might be. So how much is out there that you know of at the moment that you're looking to move into the technology transfer?
So we'll look at absolutely everything developed. And NASA develops about 2,000 new technologies every year. And we'll look at every one to see if they have a secondary commercial application. We're finding, especially nowadays, that there's new commercial space companies coming online that could benefit from them. That didn't exist 10 years ago, 15 years ago. But we're also expecting, as I mentioned, new advances in healthcare, new materials that could extend into a variety of industries. But then there's also the fun stuff that we don't know to expect. Like we developed a vibration dampening system for the new SLS rocket we're building, the world's largest rocket. That vibration dampening system that keeps the tall, skinny rocket from shaking is now preventing high-rises from shaking.
Good to see you, sir. Thank you for joining us. We much appreciate it. The developments from NASA. Now, time for us